Welcome everyone to a new episode of the Women's Empowerment Series. I'm so excited about today's episode because I have a beautiful guest. You're so stylish, my dear Amel. I am so happy to have you. Welcome to this beautiful series. You know, it's a series for women leaders from around the world, and I you know how much I love your work. I love you and the work you do and everything. So I'm so honored to have you. Welcome, Amel.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Welcome to everyone as well. Thank you.
Look at you. You look so beautiful. We're matching. You know, this is what we were saying before coming. Is like somehow all of this series, I end up being matching the person we are discussing. And it just shows you how the vibes are just perfectly aligned before we even start. So welcome, Amel. Amel Dahmani is an amazing woman. She's a financier, you know, even we're not going to be talking about that, but she's an incredible spiritual business coach. And she's the CEO and the founder of Taqwa Wealth. We're going to discover this together. And she's a wealth of knowledge, of light, of just love and delight. That's what you are. So welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Hynd. Yes, the work always starts before it arrives in the matter.
And that's exactly work, isn't it? So tell us about you. What brought you to this spiritual path? Although you've been in the path, but what brought you officially to becoming really the spiritual coach for business and for life?
Yeah. So I have been a business coach for a while. This is not my first business. And I have been training as well into sales and leadership in London before. And what brought me to
part of you.
Yeah?
It's the financial part of you, the trading part.
Yes. So,
I like how we cruise on it. Just like, I just did that. All right. You know what? It was just on my way.
Because then, you know, when you're living it, you don't see the bigger picture and how it's serving you on the longer run.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's this ability to literally, like, that's in my path. But if you take it a bit further, all the timelines do exist. They all exist in the now, and it's your choice to actually plug on the ones that you want to experience.
I love that. And today we don't want to experience that part, so we plug into what we want to experience. That's brilliant, which means that we never really ignore or forget about anything from our past. It's always here. It's just, do we choose to bring it up or not?
Yes. You get to experience it in your reality, you know? And the spiritual part was always there, even with businesses before. And one of, I would say, the biggest step I took this year, or the most courageous step that was asked for me in my growth, was to be able to share my voice publicly in that part that is very much spiritual. And I don't say religious, I do say spiritual, because it's a difference there, very noticeable. And only my clients that were Muslim business owners used to know about it, because most of my clients are actually through recommendations. Most of my offers get sold out even before they get to the public.
So your work is really very organic. It's just like it comes on its own.
Yeah. And it's I believe that every work is actually organic. You can accelerate the process with systems, and you get amazing people that can create systems, you know, for business owners. And there are accelerators. The time in between your client signing with you gets a bit shorter with systems, because it's actually studied and accelerated. And this is a universe on its own. You know, this is a skill set on its own. And that's where it kicks in, because the business owners I work with, they have a specific skill set. And it's about being able to have a safe space where they can put the mask off, you know, because in the industries, it's almost, even like in the marketing industry, it's almost a shame. Shame is the lowest frequency.
Okay.
That they can get the results for their client, but because
Mhm.
they have so much creativity with their clients, they do not have it for themselves anymore, and they're almost ashamed to talk about it.
Yeah.
And all those like dark spaces, black spot that you don't want the world to see about you, because this is what money is about. It will reveal things about you. And when
Wow.
you're afraid that the world sees you in your so-called flaws, this is where the safe space kicks in, because it's a private space. You know, I deliver on one-on-one, and
Uh-huh.
it's a very bespoke service. And in that space, you get to have, you know, the bra friend, I like to call it like this, you know,
Wow.
that,
Yeah.
you know,
So, okay, this is, I mean, this is very advanced. So I want to step back and explain that more. So what you're saying is that the way we behave, there are things that are just secretive, and we know that they don't work so well, but we hide them. And we think that we hide them and that no one will see them and no one will feel them. Is that what you're referring to?
yes, I can like go deeper into this. Everyone knows your secrets. Everyone, because we are one at a soul level.
Mhm.
And the more you serve, you know it as well, Hind, any
Yes.
person in the service industry, the
Yes.
more human people you serve,
Yes.
the more you realize that, wait a second, we all have the same stories.
Absolutely. We are
It's
all the same. I
yeah,
absolutely agree. Oh, yes.
it's like
Absolutely.
watching movies when
Yeah.
if you go, you know, in the gender of action movies or
Uh-huh.
romantic movies,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
the skeleton is the same. You do have that superhero. You
Okay.
do have like this the inconveniences that this superhero has and the friends of the superhero, and you
Okay.
get the villain. The stories, the skeleton is the same.
It's always the same.
So
It's
we
true.
love the stories.
We
What
do.
happens is
We
when
do.
people
We do.
are
Yeah.
loyal to that story, the fear is to not be enough and not be loved,
Hmm.
forgetting that we are love itself.
So, what you're saying here is that we all have our stories and we worry because we think that we're not going to be loved enough or we're not going to be liked or maybe the story doesn't fit.
Because you keep hiding that so-called thing that is horrible about you, by
Yeah.
the way, that is not. You keep hiding it. This is why when we talk about vulnerability and opening up, it is the reason why people have a link. So if you are a business owner that want to look just perfectly perfect on paper, we
Mhm.
cannot actually connect to you. You
No,
know?
because there is no perfection. That's just pretending to be perfect.
You know, it's even deeper. It is perfectly imperfect. You know?
Okay.
It is
Perfectly
not
imperfect.
to our brain.
We have a lot of hellos on Facebook. Welcome, everyone.
No.
We're so happy to have you. If you have any questions to Amel, because she's an incredible spiritual coach, just drop the question. We'll answer when we come into that. But let's understand now what we're talking about. So,
Yes.
so everyone has a story, but we're not. We have also parts that we want to hide, and we think that our secret, no one knows it, but everybody knows the secret.
Yes.
Is that
At a
what it
soul
is?
level,
That's
yes.
scary. I don't want everybody to know everything. How do you do
Because
that?
you want the human experience to know everything, because in the human 3D lens experience, okay,
Yes.
there
Yes.
is separation, but separation is an illusion.
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay. So we don't separate. Yeah, I like that because I'm just, following so that everyone will follow us because we're like
Yes.
really elevated conversation about spirituality. But this is like what you're saying is that the three dimension of just a human being, everything that is material. So like the real world, like us now sitting in front of a computer, you're sitting there. This is like real stuff. Yeah. And then there is the other dimension, which is invisible. We don't see it.
If you can word it that way, you
Well,
can word it that way. You
yeah.
can, because actually you how to express that. All right. If you want to change your reality, there is as many realities as people. Okay. If you want to change your reality, you can do it in two ways:
Okay.
mechanically using the body,
Mm-hmm.
using the matter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And you can do it outside of matter.
Mm-hmm.
This is your thought process, for example.
Okay.
And when a
Yes.
business, because I do serve like six figures, multi six figures, millionaires, multimillionaires, and as well people that are just starting and discovering the journey,
Okay.
because I believe there are no levels.
Mm-hmm.
It's the consciousness space they are on.
Yes, that's
Okay.
true.
And what I can tell is that business owners that have a strong strategy in place,
Hmm.
and I was like this as well, I was craving those higher conversations. And to be able to get in a room for those higher conversations, if
Wow.
you are crippled
Hmm.
by what people are going to think of you,
It's true.
i.e., what you think of you, by the way.
Number one, right? Because the number one judging personage is actually you with
Because
yourself.
you're like, tu leur prêtes, you're landing your thinking process to them. You're like, it's like they're borrowing it for a
It's
second.
like you projecting, right? It's just a
Yeah.
projecting of what you are really.
Mm.
Yeah. Mm.
So I would say the hardest, so-called hardest part is, what do you truly desire? What do you want to experience? What do you think is that thing that is far from you right now
Yeah.
in your 3D human lens experience? Because you get to shift it from matter, but also outside of matter.
And so from when you say matter, it means your material world, so it's reality, right?
Yes.
And so if let's talk about something very concrete, okay? And it's like I have this objective, and I have a dream, I have my objective, I'm working towards it. And I believe in it, but it's not real, and it's just like, and I don't have an evidence that it could be true. So how can you create, like it's like how can you navigate through that void? And I think that's the hardest part. And we always, I mean, I work on that a lot in mastermind as well. It's like how can you be able to move, which is you just said, from the matter into the non-matter so that it feels you hold in it so that you can really bring it back to your matter.
You said it right there. You feel like you're holding it.
Yes.
That is the first step. I like to say it's be delusional. Okay. If you
Okay.
want to experience a different reality than what you're experiencing now, if
Uh-huh.
you're attached to the reality you're experiencing now, you're going to stay in there. If you allow yourself to think of a different reality and spend time there, you
Yeah,
get to experience it. The trick here is that we want to experience it accordingly to what our brain designed.
that's
But
true.
our brain designs it according to the data we had until now in that
Yeah,
reality.
according to the evidence of how we are living now. So it never puts you in that reality.
But our evidence game is
Mhm.
based on what we say to our brain, because our brain is an excellent executant. Whatever I tell him, he will find proof of it.
Yeah, which means that we are stuck into what we really see.
No, it means
Okay.
that you can
How can
get,
you get out of it then? Okay.
because in your thinking process, if you think something differently, your brain is going to do its job and look for evidence of that.
Yeah.
So this is why I'm telling you, you can move it from a place of matter. So when you're like objective strategy, putting it in place, action, and I keep saying it, the literally in the message there is mess. So get messy with it. Okay, go for it, give it a go, particularly if you're starting. And we
Yeah.
are all starting, even though if you're a multimillionaire and you have
That's
super
true. We all
business.
started in a new phase. Always, always, always. Yeah.
You will have a lunch, you will have something, okay? And in that space, it's important to understand that the first thing is to do. What I see in the crippled space is, no, people are going to see that I failed. And
Mm,
we know that if you don't fail, you're not winning anything.
that's true.
If you
I
have been in
agree with
business
that.
long enough, you
That's
know
what
that.
I always say because I know it. I lived it. I'm like the living proof of that. You got to
Yes,
fail. You got to stand back up. It's all right.
yes,
Yes.
yes. And when you start again, you're not starting from scratch.
Never. You never start from scratch.
So
Yeah. But
you better load up that experience.
mm, and
And most people are actually afraid
yeah.
for it according to what people are going to say and
Yeah.
things like
So
that.
my question to you is, and I love the way you explain it. I think it's brilliant. Is how can you get out of the evidence that you have in your brain that you've created it because this is what you know, so that you can truly live that objective, that dream, that the reality you want to see, and bring it closer to become your real
You
reality.
said it in the question, because it is what you know. Know differently, think bigger.
Think bigger.
Yes.
So
You
I'm
want
going
to
to invite
know
everyone
more?
watching us and watching us on replay. So
Yeah.
the message today is just like to think bigger, right? If you have a goal, make it bigger.
Yes.
Make
Yes.
it bigger, dream
And
about it, live it. Yeah.
I want to add this thing that is very important. If your nervous system is not supporting you through the growth, you're going to limit yourself. And that will create frustration and constipation in the movement and the energy in movement. Okay. And in the wealth as well.
Yeah, we have some
You
yeses.
know?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
agree. Okay, so yes and yes. So come again to that. This is important. But what about the nervous system? How do because this, you bring it back again to the three-dimensional
Yeah.
space, right? Okay,
Yes.
so how do you link that?
You help it in, like, it's fractal and incremental. I keep saying it. Fractal law, what is in the little is in the big, and vice versa. Okay? So this means that you get to change it in the smallest move possible for you. Let's give an example. I like to give this one.
Yeah.
My mother always tell me, I'm a coffee drinker. I love my coffee. And she always tell me, "تخليها حتى تبرد," which means you let it until it gets cold.
Right.
Always
Yeah.
let your coffee get cold, and you're negligent. And I'm
So
like,
you should drink it before it gets cold. That's what she said.
so, no, the point is, how can I change being negligent with the thing that I have? I can start with my coffee. It's a small thing, but that will help me on bigger things, that subscription yearly one that I don't actually use. I can take that.
Yeah.
And other things where I'm negligent. Okay. So whatever thing you want to change in your habit, go and find the smallest thing, even your coffee. Now I buy like the thingy that keeps it hot.
Yeah, good.
Put on it,
Good.
okay?
And you put the lid on. I love what you said, because a lot of time people come like, I want to make money and then I'll take care of myself. I'm going to make money and then I'll start exercising. I'm going to make money and then I start eating well. And I'm like, no, you start with taking care of you if you want to reach another level. And it takes a lot of, understanding of self-development, of this energetic connections, to be able to feel that and be that.
It's funny because when you say it takes this to get there, I have to admit, I do not agree with that.
Okay.
Because you can take a motorway for that, which means from your thinking process.
I said, we are trapped by our thinking.
Yeah.
I have a mathematical mind. I'm a scientific. I always come back to logic. It's like, 1 + 1, it has to be true.
And what I'm saying is actually very logical.
Yes, I know.
If you get your brain to take that path more and more, and it becomes the natural path for your brain,
yes,
by default, it's going to go there.
I love that.
And it is actually very mathematical. We talk about spiritual as if it was far, but it's not. If you take scientific things as well, we understand, for example, I was saying that yesterday, we understand how babies are made.
Yeah.
We understand the process. Yeah? But we still cannot put a soul on a body.
No, never.
That's don't have the key. It is beyond what our brain can conceptualize. One, second, even the brain. Scientists knows, like, there is a lot more to know, and they're like, that's all we know for now. So we all agree, scientists or not scientists, that there is something higher than us in each one of us in movement.
Yeah.
And once again, talking about it from a spiritual space, you can talk about the same matter from a different angle. It's the same game. It's the same game. The second thing I wanted to share, because the first one is being fractal, the second is incremental, which means little by little, every single day. And this is the part that requires discipline. This is the part that requires, do you actually want to experience this or not?
Exactly. Your decision, is it unshakable or is like kind of wobbly?
Yeah. And the difference there is that I do not bully myself through it. This is why my nervous system gets to be regulated.
So you're kind to yourself, understanding.
I bring a lot more compassion into the game.
But you bring compassion. Okay, sometimes they get contradictory, isn't it? You want to have the discipline, you bring compassion. That says a day, I don't want to do anything. But hey, you need to keep your discipline. So I don't want to do anything, cannot happen. So you got to push yourself. How do you do that?
This is because you consider compassion for myself as being doing less or lazier or...
Yes, that's what it is, actually. That's what we all do. When you say compassion, is like, let me just sit down, do nothing.
Actually, think about it deeper. I'm thinking of PwC, for example, this study about if you take care of the employees, they get to be 11% more productive. So actually, if you think about it in a disciplined way, If taking your day at the spa is actually making you more productive, then take it. This is literally showing yourself compassion and discipline towards your goal. It's
Absolutely.
like it's like when we talk about, so clients come to me for two reasons. The first one is the relationship with money, and the
Mhm.
second one is integrating more peace in the hardship they're going through, because
Wow.
the peace is in the midst of chaos. That caliber of client is slightly different, and they
Mhm.
are generally high income earners.
Okay.
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 And in that space of peace, very important. You can be a multimillionaire and have all the money you want in the world. And what I see on the field is that they also experience being emotionally bankrupt, being spiritually bankrupt. And this is where I say, do not hide from those real conversations. This is why I serve my clients, because they can go and find a spiritual business coach like myself to be able to enter those safe rooms for themselves.
Mm.
Okay? Because they also understand that energy is extremely expansive with the A and with the E. All right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that space is for themselves. It's them
Wow.
with themselves, where they can literally breathe it out, because it needs a way out. This
Yeah.
is why they invest massively on that.
So then it doesn't mean that you need to block it and say, I shouldn't think about these thoughts, but just let it flow when it happens.
Whatever you resist will show back again. It will
Always,
insist.
always, I know that. Whatever you worry about will come and haunt you. That
Yes.
we know
And
for sure.
I love the fact that you said, I know that. It's exquisite, because it's a game of not knowing, being it, actually. The
Yeah.
path is
I like that.
slightly different,
It,
But once again, I told you, if you are still at the beginning of the Maslow pyramid and it's hard for you to pay rent, or it's hard for you to pay for food, or you are still in a very scarcity mindset, you have the money, but in your feeling, in your emotional circuit, it's like you don't have it. Ooh la la, ooh la la. This will feel like far, but you
mm.
still can recognize it.
And how do you shift that? What's like one thing that can share today
It's
to
it
easily shift it if
yeah,
someone
it's not in the
can get
how, it's
something
in
out
the
of this
who.
conversation? Mm.
What you it's So I would say, when clients that come to a coach and be like, how much is it per hour?
Yeah.
Versus clients that come to a coach and be like, how can I spend time with you?
Mm.
It's not paid per hour. I'm not paid per hour. I'm paid per insight. So
Yeah.
it's an
We know.
insightful space,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? And
Yeah.
that's a different buying space. So
Yeah.
in the first buying space, you want candies. You want something to
That's
calm
right. Yeah.
the frustration and the stress, and
You wanna eat up a little bit of that power because they feel so close to you, so that it can rib off them. Yeah, I
and
can
in
feel.
that space, you're actually buying from a place of, I want to stop pain.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to put a silence there because it's so important.
Mm. And you can even repeat it.
Yeah. In that space, you want to stop pain.
Which means that you need to pay, but you don't want to really.
It means that you're in a codependency space. You think that the other person is going to bring the super secret thing. This is the shiny syndrome by excellence, okay?
Yeah.
Whatever is shiny. And, oh, I talked to that person and I just want to give them my money, and then everything disappears,
A
you
lot of
know?
love to ML. It's peaceful space with ML. Oh, so good. So good.
And I want to go further. So this space buys from a place of, I want to stop pain. The
Mm.
majority of my clients come from a place where they understand that pain is a 3D space and it's part of the process.
It is.
Okay?
Mm.
And they
Yeah.
are buying to go towards something. So you
Mm.
have a movement towards something, or being a movement to go away from something.
Yes.
That's a big difference. But
Mm.
once again, no matter how much money you generate, because you are a soul that is experiencing a human life, this can resonate as well with you.
Yes. And it resonates with everyone because we are in our soul level, we're all the same and we know each other.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So the question is, what do you truly, truly want? That is the hardest actually part, to figure that out, because you want to feel a certain way. You don't want the jet.
No. You want the feeling of it.
Feel. Yeah.
I like
And the
that.
feeling is, by the way, brain manufactured.
Yeah. Oh, that's even worse.
It's like me going like, oh, I want to drive a Porsche, okay?
Okay.
And every
Do
day
you,
I
or
want
just an
to
example? Yeah.
drive, huh?
And do you, or is just an example?
Just I love this.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's like let's be with you. Mm.
yeah, you can take whatever example matches for you. You want to experience the next thing, okay?
Okay.
What is the next thing for you?
Yeah.
So let's say I want to drive a Porsche, okay?
Mhm.
And on a daily basis, I have a Tesla, or on a daily basis, I have a Renault Clio, okay?
Okay. Okay.
So what I can do is actually go to Porsche and drive it there, do a
That's
test
right.
drive.
Yeah.
This is from the matter, being
Mhm.
movement with the body,
Mhm.
okay? And what
Mhm.
I can do is also visualize and spend time, do the inner work where I'm driving the Porsche. And I know it
And
sounds a bit like,
no, it is, but isn't that with the law of attraction, you'll end up attracting that Porsche into your life?
because it's not, it's beyond attraction. This is like you emanate it. You are in that frequency and you're experiencing everything that match that frequency. It always starts with the frequency you're on. This
Yeah.
is why, like, Tajweed al-Quran Kareem is precious in that
Mhm.
space because it is the illumination frequency, the highest frequency that can be possible, and it's beyond words. This is why,
Wow.
even though you don't understand it, it still talks to your heart because it's not our eyes that are blind, it's our hearts.
Yes. And the feelings come from the heart. And the magnetism comes from the heart. Everything comes from the heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I want to ask you one last question about, I know how much you work with money and how money is energy. What can you add to that to really clarify what it means to someone that, don't even, what do you mean energy and money? What does it mean? How can you simply
So as I
explain?
was saying yesterday, emotion is literally energy in motion. What
Mhm.
happens when you're stuck is that because you chose to stay with that emotion, you don't want to let it go, but the emotion is made to circulate in your body. It gives you an information and it
Mhm.
goes. It's
Mhm.
like water in the world. It has a circuit.
Yeah.
Let it literally flow. Okay.
Mm. And it
I
will always flow, can never stop. Nothing stops it.
Yes. I want to
Never.
give you
Just
an
find the
example.
cracks to go through.
Because if you have a bit of contraction towards it, if you're surfing, for example,
Mhm.
okay, you're surfing and you take the wave like this,
Yeah.
okay, the wave is going like this, and you're with your surf. And the first thing actually you do when you hit that wave and you want to get out of the water is to literally let yourself go and you do this. Okay, you do
Yes.
this.
Right.
You
So
don't
that
do
you follow the wave and you let the
yeah,
wave take you.
actually how to express it. The body wants to go to the sand and he
Yeah.
wants to go straight to the sand, to the land, okay?
Mhm.
And what it said is actually because of the rip one, you better do a detour like this. But
Yeah.
the brain naturally wants to do this,
Straight. Yeah.
you know?
That's right.
So what I'm saying is that you will naturally have reactions based on your today's reality,
Mhm.
okay?
Mhm. I
And you
love this
train your
analogy.
nervous
It's
system,
really
yeah.
helpful.
You
Yeah.
train your nervous system to actually take a different path.
Mm.
It's the same when you're floating.
Yeah.
Like when you're floating, let's say
Mhm.
you're in the ocean or in the pool, whatever. You actually need to truly let go of your body. Your head literally goes like this at the back, and
Yeah.
your hips go up. You
Yeah.
let yourself go, but the body will naturally not go there. It's not a natural mechanism to do that, to fully let go. This is why I express it again. It's in what you are avoiding that the work happens.
Mm. So it's about letting go of everything.
It's
And
about
surrendering. That's what we
experiencing
call
it.
surrendering. You
Yes.
surrender to things.
Let it go through. Let it
Yeah.
go through. It's the same with the contraction with money,
Yeah. Mm.
let it go through. And once again, it's easier said than done. This is why it is required for you in your matrix to do it with your body, to embody it. Because you can hear us talking for hours and be like, oh, yes, it rings bells and stuff. Oh la la, yes, it makes
We
sense.
can do it. It's easy. Yeah.
And I invite you to also use your body. This is why the coffee thing, it's something I do with my body, okay? In my 3D space.
You are intentional about how do you use your
Exactly.
body.
Exactly. And I
Mm.
can align this, also adding energetic work to it. For example, the Chicago Bulls, when I lived in Chicago to train the Chicago Bulls team, they had the physical training, but also a mental training where the guy is sitting, closing his eyes, and he is training to shoot in the basket.
Yes,
Here,
yes, it's
so
true.
this is the same with high performance spaces. You get the strategic space where you're doing in your business and you get your teams to do. And if you want to outperform that and excel in your space, add energetic work to it.
Energetic intention,
Yes,
vividly.
exactly. And that is an accelerator in your business. You know, this is why people come to me in that space. There are generally 20, 30K per month. And this is what gets them to above 50 and plus.
It's like they're
Work.
living energetically what they want to do. Yeah.
Yes. So you get to train without working in the physical matter, but you're working inside of you. The work is done inside and you're matching the frequency you want to experience.
I love it. I just love it, Emma. And I love the way you explain it in such a very easy way. Easy. And I know that whoever is listening to us, this is an invitation to level up and to really, it's an invitation to get yourself energetically ready to the highest level of your dream, really, of what you want. Because we often, cut it short because of the lack of evidence, isn't it?
Yes. Get to embody your dream. And if you want it to stay being a dream, you're going to limit yourself. If you think, okay, I'll give you an example. People are like, I want this. And in their reality, this is not what they want. Example, I give this one fairly often. I want to make my first 10K a month. But in their inner dialogue, them making 10K a month or people that make 10K a month are stealing from people. They're not there because they don't want to be that person.
Yeah. So there are some blockages.
Yeah, it's not even blockages because those are what helps you get there. It's not something like made to block you and stop you. It is literally, like Mario.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again.
It's like the pièces. He gets like coins. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. Anything that you consider as being a hardship is actually a coin. It was a stretch to get there. Get the coin and move on. You need the coin. If you are a multimillionaire, ask any person at that level, in your journey or when you started, you had teams that were not working. You had legal problems. You had to figure out some shit. Let's be honest.
Okay? A lot of it, not just some.
But it's because you experienced that. Duality is a gift to us, not a problem. It's not something that is, this is why I keep saying, peace is about anchoring in peace in the midst of chaos.
I love that. I love it. Anchoring in peace in the midst of chaos, in the middle of everything not working. You know what? This is the most powerful and this is the hardest thing, but you need to keep it and remember it.
Yeah, same game. You get to shift. It's the hardest thing, but it is the simplest thing ever. Guess what? Your brain will figure out ways to make it simple.
Yeah. If you ask.
We are amazing machines. It's incredible. Our bodies and everything works in a perfect manner. It's just exquisite. And it's beyond what we can even conceptualize. I was talking about it yesterday. There is a hospital here for military. And I went to a conference about, the arms and the hands they do for soldiers that lost their members. And doing this, oopsie, where is the camera? Doing this is actually taking so long for them to get there. The robot doesn't know how to do it. Just this. So there is so many things that are granted to us. We are showered with billion gifts at every single heartbeat, Hynd. And sometimes we like to forget it because we think we're missing something.
It's true. And sometimes that's why it's a good reminder of the miracle of our being and everything we're capable of doing. And the moment you start remembering that, because we kind of really stave it off and just let it out, and we start stuck in the problems, then how can you find peace but coming back to spirituality? And it's a full circle.
It's interesting to dive into because some people will consider peace as being dangerous. And I discovered that as well. If
Mm.
you didn't grow in peace, or if you consider peace as being a problem and it's not familiar to you,
Mm.
you're not gonna want this. Be careful to what you say to yourself and have those real conversations. This is why you have coaches to help you out.
Yeah, I love that. We have a beautiful comment here. It's a very deep energy and natural. To Amel, very inspiring. Thank you, everyone. We went a little bit more than our time because Amel is such a delight, and I didn't want to stop this. Just beautiful, and we all felt this energy. And I think it just felt like it's an invitation for everyone to trust that other field, and that there is something bigger than us that is really guiding us. And if you just let it happen, you can create the incredible.
Yes.
So I'm going to give you your last word. What would you like to say before we close off today?
Thank you for the gift that you are.
Mm.
You're a blessing to this world, and thank you.
Thank you. I love you, Amel. You're amazing. I wish you all the success, and
Thank
and that your light shines so big so that everyone really start believing in all of this. Thank you, everyone, for being with us, for watching us on replay. Amel is incredible. You can reach out to her. She's on Facebook. I put the link. We can even put the link about Taqwa and Wealth. If you have something they can read about, or
Instagram is the best place to meet me, and
okay,
TikTok.
so and TikTok. Oh my God, I never TikTok, girl. Wow.
Yeah.
Excellent. You go. Okay, well, thank you everyone for being with us. Thank you so much, Amel. This was such a delight.
Thank
Sending you
you.
so much
Thank you,
love.
Hynd.